With my chin up high. Rest of my life. What is up, Buttercups? Welcome to another exciting episode of... This is how cold it is outside. Watch. Who is cold? What up, dog? What up, man? Check out this log, though. I just found this log today. Let's see. Look how cool that is, dude. Somebody drilled a hole in the bottom, hole through the top. It's like a blowtorch, dude. What a smart idea. Whoever did that, genius. It's a genius idea. It's cold as hell out here, ladies and gentlemen. Dude, that shit would be killer for s'mores. You can even put like a pan on top of that and cook and shit. Fucking genius idea. Oh, man. Aloha, brother. Ooh. I need to go back to the islands. We're considered the 9th island. Ruben, see, what's up, brother? What's up, man? Man, I had a blast with your interview, bro. That was so fun, man. Thank you, dude. I really appreciate you showing up, man. That was fun. Can't go inside. Oh, my son's asleep. You know I'm a loud motherfucker, so I'm out here. I just ordered this sarape like 2 weeks ago, dog. 3 weeks ago. Like, la verga. Out here all nice and warm. Got the beanie on. But I got the rum to keep me warm today. Yes, indeedy. It will be keeping me warm. Might need more. Oh, man. I'm excited, man. It's been good. I'm going to call this the frozen session. Oh, the log? Oh, you didn't see the log? Check this out, dude. This log's fucking pimping. Look at that. How cool is that log, dude? Like, whoever, like, invented this or had this idea of just, like, drilling a hole in the bottom and one on top and then turning it on and letting the log burn from inside out is a genius. Look at that flame, dude. Like, you literally weld with that flame. So, props to that guy that invented that. Girl, I love Maui. I gotta go back to Lahaina. I had such a great time. KDAY was cool, but yeah, Lahaina takes it. Definitely. So if you guys haven't had a chance to go to Hawaii, go check out Maui. You gotta do the road to Hana. Super dope. Food's amazing over there. It was such a great time, man. Had a blast in Maui. It literally is paradise. Until the white man came and destroyed it. Just kidding. JG, what's up, brother? Nightlife, what's going on? Fools 1, I Gonzalez 10, what's going on? Give it a couple of minutes. Normally I start off just to warm up the audience, but today I'm warming up myself because it's cold, dude. It's like high of 48 today here in Vegas, so sun's gone. You know, it's a little cold out here, so got the rum going. Got the flame behind me, so it's going to keep me warm. But I'm excited. This DJ came highly anticipated. A lot of people were ready to kick it. Yeah, I know, girl. I know, Joanna. I'm always for a good struggle and a good fight, so I'm down with the cause. But yeah, DJ Suave. We have DJ Suave today. It's gonna be pretty cool, pretty exciting. He's a lot of people like this cat, man. I was getting hit up like, hey, are you gonna win? You know, super happy about having him. So I'm excited. He sent me his bio. You know? Oh, yeah. Real quick. Forchente. You know what, guys? I got an idea. Forchente. I'm going to go get the tequila real quick. I think we need to do that. Forchente. Take a shot at tequila Forchente. One momento, please. All right, so never mind. I couldn't find the tequila, so I'm gonna have to do it with the rum. I found this little small bottle of rum. I only drink on Wednesdays. I'm not a drinker, so I'll pour a little bit of here for Don Vicente Fernandez. To many, many times of him getting us drunk, making us cry, and making us feel great. The original member of the Rebel Daze 7-2. The guy was definitely a rebel. Y le valía madre. Forchente. Oh, yeah. That's the stuff right there. Salud. The real Madam X. Hello, welcome. All right, well, it's 9 o'clock. Welcome to another exciting episode of Rebel Daze Sessions on Rebel Day 702. I'm your host, Grease the Godfather. Today's session is the Frozen session. Do you want to build a snowman? It's cold. I'm outside. It's about 40-something degrees out here. Got the bonfire in the back. Got the sarape going. I'm going to feel good. I love doing this stuff. Almost like a campfire, chilling, relaxing. So, without further ado, let's find DJ Suave. See if he's on here already. But we got DJ Suave today, ladies and gentlemen. So let's see if we got Mr. Suave here. All right. Assuming the request now. Sessions by the campfire. Yes, it is. Keep it as real as can be. Yeah, I don't know, man. I just like the setup, man. It gives it a little bit more like we really are just chilling, relaxing, you know what I mean? And I kind of like to do that with the show and, make everybody comfortable. Like, hey, we're just chilling, relaxing, no studios. But right about now, I wish I had a studio. Man, that would be amazing. So I don't see DJ Suave here, so we'll wait. For you guys in the Vegas area or planning to come to the Vegas area this weekend, we'll be throwing an event at 18 Bin with 97.5's DJ G Minor, also a California OG, and Southern Cal OG. And we got a chance to link up with him and do his birthday party at 18 Bin, which is downtown. So if you guys are in the area, this Saturday, starting at 9 o'clock, we're going to be throwing some 90s hip-hop, 90s house music. We're going to do some K-rock and rock en español. So if you guys are in the area or coming by or have nothing to do this weekend, want to come to Vegas, please come on down, chill with us. It'll be fun. True Dope, what's up, dog? This weekend, like I said, this weekend will be amazing. Now, let me reach out to him here on my handy dandy notebook and see what's up. There he is. All right. What's up, brother? Hola, Request. Got the trainers in the background. There you go. R. Garcia this Saturday night. Catch the Rebel Daze crew. 18 bin. Big Pimpin', what's going on, man? What up? I'm gonna be posting your guys' flyer. I'm sorry, man. I've been so slammed and busy, but if you guys adopt an elder, they're doing a beautiful, beautiful thing. A Big Pimpin', Queen Happy. So make sure you guys go up there, hit them up, adopt a senior. Super cool deal. There's a whole story behind it, and maybe I could get them to come on here and talk about it. And we could talk about their push and whatnot, and help them out, and always here for a good thing. It says DJ Suave is unable to join. Hey, DJ Suave, go on there and then ask for an invite. Request an invite so we get you on here. Yeah, Big Pimpin', Queen Happy, they're amazing. And they're doing such a great cause, and I would love to give them as much love as possible. I apologize, my fault for dropping the ball. Should have had the flyer already up, but this shit goes crazy. What's up, Scott Grooves? But it's a really, really good cause, and definitely want to get that going. What's up, Two Dope? What's going on? Once again, if you guys missed it, this weekend we're going to be doing an event with 97.5's DJ G Minor. His birthday. We're going to link up. We're going to do an 18 bin inside. We're going to be playing the hottest hits of the 90s, hip-hop, house music, K-rock, and rock en español, because that's the way it goes. There you go. DM Big Pimpin _562 if you guys are interested or have any questions about adopting a senior, and they could tell you the whole rundown. And I will be posting the flyer later on today. Like I said, I apologize. I'm always falling behind schedule. But here we go. Without further ado, Mr. DJ Check 140. What's up, player? Dude, that site you sent me was amazing, bro. Thank you.
What's up?
What up, man? How you doing,
brother? What's going on, son?
Dude, just, trying to stay warm out here, brother.
You do this outdoors. I'm surprised you do this outdoors because I know it gets cold in Vegas.
So what I try to do, bro, is I try to keep it as like if we were out here in my backyard, bro, and we're literally drinking some beer and just smoking some cigarettes by the campfire, you know what I mean? Just want to keep it like that. If I could afford a studio, bro, I would already build one already. So, I want to sound like I'm a G about it, bro. You know what I mean? But I have a 3-year-old son, and he's a light sleeper, so I kind of chill outside, bro. But it's cool, man. I like it. It's fun.
Cool. I really appreciate it. I mean, I've been tuning in as much as I can to your show, and it's pretty good. It's I'm glad to be a part of it.
I'm glad you are, bro. I really am. A lot of people were like, excited to hear your story. They were happy and all that stuff. And then I know you sent me your bio. I got your bio, and I refused to read it in the case because I want you to tell me your story. You know what I mean? Straight up. You know what I mean? And it's never like a disrespect to the artist or anything. It's just that I wanna have that feeling that I'm just meeting you for the first time, and I'm asking these questions because you're telling me about it, and I think it gives us a little bit more of like a real take on everything. I mean, I could Google you and look at everything you've done or ask your friends, but I much rather you tell me in your words, and I think it makes it for a better deal, man.
Okay, which you are meeting me for the first time.
So let's start off from the beginning, brother. Where you from? Where'd you start? How'd you get into DJing? The basics, the easy basics, and we'll take it from there.
Well, I didn't quite from the very beginning. I mean, I fell in love with music at a very, very young age, and falling in love with music, I didn't realize it when it started. I just knew that I loved music. I wanted to hear it. I grew up in Linwood, okay, and Linwood today is not Linwood back then. Linwood today is predominantly Hispanic. Back then, when I grew up in Linwood, it was mainly blacks and Samoan. So the music that I fell in love with was the music I heard on the streets. Not necessarily in my own home. You know, being Cuban and all, we heard a lot of Latin, obviously. And since my mom and my parents really were involved with church, I also heard a lot of gospel and a lot of Christian music. But man, when I was out on the streets and I would hear the cars go by, or the people blasting the radio, or the people across the street having a party, that's when I heard those rhythms, those beats. And we're talking late 70s, early 80s. I would say from 78 to like 82, 83, right around there, because in 83, I moved to the San Gabriel Valley. So living in Linwood, hearing, you know, Zap, you know, Genius of Love, Tom Tom Club, Off the Wall, Michael Jackson, OJ's, Bar Keys, hearing a lot of that, you know, what we call old school today, you know, a lot of the funk. And that's what I loved, you know, and I would see guys putting their radios in their handlebars and their bicycles and just go riding up and down my block and just blasting this music. And I'm like, man, this is so dope. Nothing like that we were hearing inside my house. But that beat, you know, I just couldn't get away with it. I could not escape it. Loved it. So when I moved to the San Gabriel Valley, La Puente Huescovina area, that's when I discovered what would change my life forever. And this was, this was early 83, because I moved there in 83. So early on in 83, I discovered KDAY, KDAY, which was LA's first rap station. And I found it accidentally. I was just thumbing through my mom's stereo, and as I was turning the knob, you know, watching that needle go down to all the stations, I just heard that beat, and that's where I kept it. And I was hearing more stuff that I wouldn't hear back in Linwood, because in Linwood, I was hearing more of the funk stuff. When I moved to the SGV and I discovered KDAY, I was hearing more rap stuff, along with the early 80s electro stuff, like Egyptian Lover, Twilight 22, Nucleus, Jones Crew, stuff like that. And I was hooked. I was hooked every day. I was listening to that station, just loving it. And one Saturday night, I came home from church and I tuned into KDAY. And that's when I heard for the very first time these people that they call them DJs. I had no idea that there were people dedicated to playing music. None whatsoever. And I'm listening to this music and I'm hearing people talk about DJs and this and that. And I'm like, wow, what the hell? What is this? And I'm hearing not just a lot of the music that I would hear in the streets, but I would also hear stuff that I would not hear in the streets. And listening to the Mix Master show on KDAY completely changed my life. It introduced me to the DJ. It introduced me to what DJs do. This is 83, 84. And I never seen a DJ. And I would hear the people on the radio say these things, say wheels of steel, turntables, mixers. Had no idea what that was. No idea what it was. I just knew that that's what the DJs were talking about. They were using. I couldn't put those elements and the music together. I just knew that for some reason, these DJs were talking about the wheels of steel and turntables and mixers. So fascinated. I was hearing these tracks. I was hearing DJs do these things that made no sense to me, like scratching. When I heard scratching, I had no idea what that was or how they did it. So fascinated by the music. And I caught myself because I was so into the music. I just didn't want to listen to it. In my mind, subconsciously, I wanted to be a part of it. So I caught myself when I'm listening to the Mixmaster show, I caught myself counting beats without realizing what I was doing. I'm listening to the music and I'm like, oh, okay. And then boom, oh, okay, cool. And then I realized that when I knew something was going to happen with a particular track, the DJ would do something. Either a song would come in, or he would cut into a song quickly, or a scratch or something would happen. So I caught myself noticing that I knew what was going to happen in this mix by just counting the beats. Again, not knowing what I was doing. I just followed the rhythm. I said, oh, okay, cool, cool, cool. And then all of a sudden, boom, something's happening. A change is happening. So this went on for a while. And I'm listening to these mixes, and there are two DJs. Well, actually, one DJ and a group of DJs were extremely influential to me. Were one of the KDAY Mixmasters, which was the Jammin' Gemini, and then the World Class Wrecking Crew, which is DJ Yella and Dr. Dre. Way before NWA was even a thought. They were the World Class Wrecking Crew. There were other DJs, but I know that when the show started, they would leave the World Class Wrecking Crew or the Jammin' Gemini towards the end because they were the better DJs. And I knew that the music was better. Everything was just better. So I'm listening to the KDAY for a long time, not having a clue what was going on. Zero. So one day, I'm at the West Covina Mall. Just hanging out. And I'm hearing all of a sudden this music. You know what I mean? And I'm like, whoa, I just got excited. Like, where's this music coming from? And I realize it's coming from a store. So I go up to the store, and it's an audio store. You know, car stereos, home speakers, the whole nine. And these guys are just bumping this music. I'm like, oh, okay, cool. But then I'm checking out the store, and toward the back of the store, there's a glass door. And on top of the glass door, it said DJ. And I was like, oh, snap. Okay. Mind you, again, I'm barely a teenager at this time, right? So I go into this glass store. I go into the room, very small room, but they had all this equipment. I just see speakers and all this equipment. I see lights and whatever. And I'm just looking and looking. A few minutes later, this guy walks in and he goes, hey, well, can I help you? And I go, well, yeah, I'm just looking at, I'm looking at the stuff. And then I asked them about the music that they were playing in the front. And he goes, oh, yeah, that's one of my tapes. I'm like, oh, okay. And then I asked them, did you do that tape? And he goes, yeah, I'm a DJ. And I'm like, as soon as he said that he's a DJ, I was like, oh, finally, I get to meet one. I finally meet a person that's a DJ. So real quick, I wanted to ask him all these questions that I had when I'm listening to the Mixmaster show, right? So I'm like, okay, cool. So the first question I asked him was, what are wheels of steel? And he just kind of laughed at me, He goes, what are wheels of steel? And he knew, like I said, I'm barely a teenager. So, okay, so he took pity on me. So he basically told me what wheels of steels were. And he goes, look, it's this. I go, oh, so wheels of steels are a record player? He goes, yeah. I'm like, okay, cool. Then I asked him, what's a turntable? And he goes, the same thing. And then I'm like, oh, okay. So my mind's just like, okay, I'm trying to absorb all this, right? And so I asked him, so why do they call it wheels of steel? I don't understand. Because when they say wheel, I'm thinking of an actual wheel. He goes, no, the reason why they call them wheels is because of the platter. It turns like a wheel. I'm like, oh, okay. So then I asked him one of the biggest questions that was on my mind that I always wanted to know. Because listening to the Mixmaster show, I would hear these DJs. We all know this old school track called It's Time, right? That old classic electro funk, It's Time. And I knew the song because they would play it on KDAY on rotation. And I knew that it only said It's Time once in the very beginning of the track. But when I hear on the Mixmaster show, I hear them go, it's time, it's time, it's time. And that just, I couldn't wrap my head around that. Like, how do they do that? Now, in my lower level thinking, I'm assuming that this is what I called it. I call it a repeat button. In my mind, they have some kind of repeat button that they're tapping and they're just going, it's time, and that's how they did it. So when I asked them, look, I listened to the Mixmaster show, how do they make it go, it's time, it's time, it's time? So he showed me. Now, he didn't grab the records, but he mimicked what the DJ would do. He said, well, on one record, you have It's Time, and on the other record player, it's This Time. And he kind of did the motion with his hands, bringing the record back, It's Time, and then when he did that, my jaw dropped to the floor, my head exploded, because it was like this mystery finally being solved. And I'm like, wow, so that's how they do it. So now when I'm listening to the Mixmaster show, now I could visualize, I have a visual image of what they're doing. I could put the music and the gear and the DJ together. So now when I'm listening to the Mixmaster show, I'm like, so this is what's going on and this is what's happening. So when they're doing this, I know they're doing a motion with their hand, with the record, and the whole nine. So I'm like, oh, snap. So when I put those two together, I'm thinking, oh, man, I would love to do that. Just love to do that. But I had what do I do? You know, what do I do to do what these guys are doing? So during that time, I ended up at some party. And that was the first time that I physically saw a DJ. And I'm standing there just looking at him, and I'm like, oh, man. And I don't know what came over me. I just asked him, not having a single clue of what was going on. I asked him, hey, can I play some records? And the guy was like, sure, go ahead. I was like, oh, snap. So then, cool. So then I start looking through his records. And then he goes, what are you doing? Well, you thought I could play some records. He goes, no, you play your records. And I'm like, oh, so you're telling me if I were to bring my records, I could play? He goes, yeah. Oh, snap. So what do? I go to Tower Records at the West Covina Mall, and I start buying little records, you know. At the West Covina Mall, at the record store, it was a great record store, but there you can't hear the records before you buy them. So I don't have a clue on what's what or anything. So I bought some records that I kind of knew. It was about maybe 10 or 15. And when I went to the cashier to pay for them, the guy looked at me. He goes, "Are you a DJ?" And he goes, "Well, you know, I'm trying to be one." And he goes, "What kind of music?" And I told him about the KDAY Mix Master Show and this and this and that. And he goes, "Dude, if you want to get some of that music," he goes, "there's an indoor swap meet in La Puente. Go in there." And that's where I went. And that's where I heard almost everything that I would hear on the Mix Master Show. That's where I heard it. And I could hear the track, I could hear the record before I would buy it. That's where I heard Pac Jam and Spaces the Place, all these classic old school electro type funk tracks. That's where I got them. And I'm like, oh, awesome. So I started getting that. And that's when I started building my record collection that you see back there. Okay. That's where it started for me. So the electro, the old school, the funk, the Mix Master Show, that was my life. But it didn't last long. It did not last long because a friend of mine came up to me, and this is, now we're talking about, I want to say 85, 86 maybe? 85, 86. Yeah, right around there. Maybe toward the end of 86. This high school buddy of mine, I'm totally dating myself now. Okay. This high school buddy of mine, he comes up to me and he goes, because he knew I was into the music, and I told him that I bought a few records and the whole DJ thing. And he comes up to me and goes, "Dude, I have an uncle that lives in New York, and he sends me these cassettes every now and then of the DJs from New York." And I'm like, "Oh, really?" I'm like, "Okay, cool, dude, lend me one." So a few days pass, he lent me this tape. I'm talking the millisecond that I press play on that tape, my jaw was on the floor. It made me do a complete 360 what I wanted to do musically. I wasn't not just hearing songs I never heard before. I was hearing sounds I've never heard before. And I'm like listening to this tape, like, what is this? It was nothing that was being played on KDAY, nothing that I ever heard on the street. I'm like, wow. So I had the tape for like maybe 2 weeks, every single day, listening to it. So I go to my friend, "Do you have any more?" And he goes, "Yeah, I think I got like 2 more. Grab those tapes, listen, same thing. And I'm listening. I'm like, what the fuck is this? Blew my mind, because it was nothing. It was up-tempo, but again, it was from a completely different spectrum than what I'm used to hearing from the KDAY Mix Master Show and what I would hear on the streets. And I asked my friend, he goes, "Dude, where does he get this music?" And he goes, "Dude, I don't know. He's from New York, and he sends me these mixes, these cassettes every now and then." So then I asked my friend, "What do you call this music?" And that's when he said, "House music." I go, "House music?" And I had to pause, because that's not the first time I heard the word house to describe a certain style of music. A few years before those tapes, we just finished practicing basketball at my school, and we're in front of the school waiting for my ride. And I was with my friend, who just happened to be black, who just happened to be from Chicago. And we're both standing right there waiting for our rides in front of the school. And this mini truck rolls by. Boom, 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 just bumping. You know, back in those days, you know the mini trucks, right? There was huge phenomenon. So this mini truck rolls by and he looks at me. He goes, you know what we call that music in Chicago? I mean, what? He goes, house music. Really? Okay. Thought nothing of it. Went in one ear, put it in the back of my mind. No big deal. A couple years later, I asked my friend what that is. He goes, it's house music. And it took me back to my friend. I go, so this is what my friend was talking about when he said what they call this music in Chicago. Well, anyway, turns out that the DJ that made these tapes was the one and only Larry Levan from the Paradise Garage. His uncle was a member of the Garage. And Larry would make these cassettes, and people would make copies of copies of copies of copies, just like they did it back in Chicago. And he mailed copies of 1 billion copies of those Larry Levan mixes, and that's what I heard. Completely changed my direction musically. I mean, that instant, I forgot. I put all that electro funk away and all. I just forget all that. This is what I want to do. This is what I want to listen to. And now, obviously, the music that I was hearing a lot of disco, and I was hearing a lot of house. But when I was hearing those the tapes for the first time, there was these sounds that back then I called it futuristic sounds, because I couldn't make what they were. They were sounds that I never heard before. Now, those sounds that I was calling futuristic sounds turned out to be acid. Larry Levan would play some acid house. So I didn't know what the hell that was. I just called it futuristic sounds because that's what it sounded like to me, because it was something that I've never, ever heard out here. So I got introduced to, that's how I got introduced to Larry Levan, and that's how I got introduced to house music. Now we're, I want to say, toward the late 80s. I want to say maybe 88, 89. Actually, no. This is now 89, 90. Between 1989 and 1990. Probably closer to 1990, as a matter of fact. That same friend comes up to me. He goes, dude, I'm going to go to a party. It's going to be in downtown LA. And they're going to be playing a lot of that music that's on those tapes. And I'm like, dude, let's go. I am so down for that. So we go to downtown. We get there like around 1 in the morning. It was a small warehouse. I mean, maybe at the most 40 people were there. But those 40 people stayed till the sun came up. They stayed till like 6, 7 in the morning. And I took a beeline straight to the DJ booth, which was a few steps after I walked into the warehouse, because it was not that big. And I'm watching this DJ just playing these records, a lot of that same style, that same sound that I heard on those cassettes. And I was like, oh my gosh, this is it. I found what I've been looking for. And as we left the party, there were these people passing out flyers for the next party. And I asked one of the guys, are they going to have the same music? He goes, no, dude, it's the same DJ. I'm like, cool, right? Couple of weeks go by, go to another part of downtown, small warehouse, and there I am, beeline straight to the DJ booth, and I'm just watching. And I see this DJ, he has like funky overalls, a white type of t-shirt, had some beads around his neck, had like yellow frizzy hair, and he's just playing these records that just blew my mind. Well, it turned out that that DJ was Doc Martin.
Oh, wow.
That DJ was Doc Martin. And that's not when I first met Doc. I met Doc years later. But the party that my friend took me to was Flammable Liquid. And that was one of the parties that Doc kind of started everything. After Flammable Liquid, it was Unlock the House, then Sublevel, I believe. So watching Doc do his thing, that's when I'm like, okay, no, this is me. So years go by, and I realized, I found out where to get these records, and I got introduced to the West Side party scene, which was something completely the opposite of what I'm used to, because I'm in the San Gabriel Valley, which is what they would consider the East Side. And all these underground warehouse parties would consider the West Side. Basically, East Side meaning more Latino-based, West Side more white, Asian-based. So that was basically my journey, how I started from falling in love with music, how I heard the word house music, and watching one of my mentors for the very first time back in like 1990. So now I'm picking up more records, buying more vinyl, and I caught myself being in two different scenes. You have the East Side and you have the West Side. So being from the San Gabriel Valley, obviously I got bombarded with the party crews, So I started checking that out. And I'm like, okay, cool. Now this time I have records and the whole thing. And so I started, let me play. So I started playing. It was cool. But, and here's something that a lot of people definitely don't know. You hear stories from DJs, oh, I learned how to mix in 2 months, or I learned how to mix in 2 weeks. I learned how to mix in a few days. That's not my story. For some reason, it took me about 2 years just to learn the fundamental basic of putting two beats together. Why? I do not know. I also had a very bad habit of playing every single record with the pitch control all the way down, which is a huge cardinal sin. But, it was me not knowing shit. I was just more excited just to play the records. And then, a good buddy of mine who's still my friend today kind of slapped the shit out of me and goes, "What the hell are you doing?" And he basically taught me the fundamentals of mixing. And from that point, a couple years later, I finally got it. It got to a point where I would grab two records and if they were mixed, I would get a marker, and on the label of the record, I would put where the pitch control is. So it would be like, I would put -2, and then on the other record, that's on -4, that would put like -4. But I soon realized that doesn't work when you go to another, when you put that on another set of turntables. So I learned that the hard way, because I went to a party and I'm like, okay, cool. I'm putting this record, -2, the same record, and nope, it didn't do it. It didn't mix, and I just looked stupid, But yeah, it just took me a long time to mix. Yeah, don't know why. It just did. So I'm playing at these house parties, and I'm hearing the music that they're playing. And then I go to the West Side and I'm hearing what they're playing, and I'm like, man, this is just two different worlds. Two different worlds. So somehow I'm trying to remember how it happened. I think I went to Exodus Records. I think I went to Exodus Records, and for some reason or other, I asked for Richard Vision. Okay, because I was listening. This is now we're talking like 93, 94, and I went to Exodus Records, and I asked for Richard Vision. I don't even know why I wanted to talk to him, but I asked the question. I wanted to ask him a few questions, whatever. And the guy that was working there, I believe his name was Robert. He was real cool. He goes, you know what? No, Richard's not here, but he's gonna be here like in a day or two. Call then. I'm like, okay. So I called a couple days later. I called, and this guy Robert answered the phone, and I go, hey, remember me? Blah blah blah. Is Richard there? He goes, no, you know what? He's not there. He's not here. Whatever. I'm like, oh man. I'm telling you, this Robert guy was real cool. He asked for my number. And he goes, look, give me your number. I'm going to talk to Richard and see if he gives you a call. I'm like, oh, okay, cool. So a couple days go by. No phone call. I call Exodus Records again. He goes, hey, I was a little kid, you know, I'm very anxious. I mean, I want to talk to Richard. So I call Exodus again. And Robert goes, hold on. On another line or whatever, he calls Richard. He calls Richard, and okay, Richard's gonna give you a call. All right, cool. Couple minutes go by, Richard ends up calling me. I asked him what I wanted to ask him, and he goes, okay, cool. And then he said something that I was not expecting at all. He doesn't know me. He doesn't know nothing about me. But he asked, send me a 30-minute mix so I could listen to it to see if I could put you on Powertools. And I was like, oh, snap. You know, I'm like, okay, cool. Cool. I almost passed out. Okay. I almost, just like that, out of the blue, doesn't know me, doesn't do nothing. So I'm like, oh shit, okay, cool. So I end up doing a 30-minute mix. I send it. Okay, I send it. Time goes by. I get a phone call. You're going to be on the show. Dope. Cool. I get to the show. Now, this is the time where the mixing on Powertools was never live, with the exception of the DJ contest. However, in the first years of Powertools, the broadcast, that was live. They would broadcast from the dome, and they would just play the mixes. So I went to the dome looking for Richard, and finally I found them. They were outside, and I was on the show. I was like, oh, super excited. I met Jerry, Tony, Richard. We're talking, blah, 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 blah. The show was over, and then Richard says the following: dude, send me a mix about once a month. I'm like, are you fucking serious? Dude, I'm like, you want me to send you a mix about once a month? He goes, yeah. I'm like, fuck, all right. And that's how my Powertools career, I guess if you want to call it, that's how my experience with Powertools started. Calling Exodus Records, little mocoso, calling Exodus Records to talk to Richard, and sure enough, because of that, I sent them a tape. They loved what they heard. They asked me to send them a tape about every other month. So throughout the 90s and early 2000s, that's what I was doing. And
let me get in here real quick, bro. There's so many questions I got before we get to your Powertools trip. So okay, you say you're a Cuban, right? You're Cuban.
Yeah.
Cuban beat. My padrino is Cuban. So how much of the influence was that music to you growing up? Like your parents' music, you know, listening to to música de Cuba? You know what I mean? Like, how was that an influence to you growing up?
It influenced me in a way that I knew that it called the rhythmic person in me. Okay. Now I'm not gonna sit here and say, well, if it wasn't for the music, the Latin music that I heard at the house, would I be the DJ I am today? No, I'm not saying that. But it definitely, that lit the fuse or planted the seed in me, listening to Celia Cruz, obviously, Tito Puente, stuff like that. More on my mom's side, because believe it or not, my dad was not really rhythmically inclined. He wasn't. It was my mom. She was the one that would listen to the radio, you know, popular music and stuff like that. Even the Christian music that she would listen to had up-tempo beats, okay? So all the rhythmic stuff came from my mom. And because of that, I think when I started hearing the music on the street, that, there's the connection right there. You know, different rhythms and patterns, but it still made me do this. You know what I mean? I'm hearing the music at the house, you know, I'm doing this. I go to the streets, I'm doing the same thing, you know? So yeah, I think definitely growing up with Latin music definitely was a key factor in the direction that I went musically.
Yeah, cool, man. Yeah, because I always like to ask, like, the influences. Sometimes we don't even know how we're influenced. You know what I mean? And you think about it, it's like, oh yeah, well, my parents used to play this music, and all of a sudden, like, it's the same beat pattern, or there's certain cuts or whatever that I listen to now that, you know, kind of go with that. How'd you get your name?
Oh, yes. Okay. How did I get my name? That's a very cool story. And I told this story on Powertools. And Richard was like, oh, shit. Okay, that's a cool story. So I was at my friend's house, and we're listening to these records. And we all know who Egyptian Lover is. Okay. And we were listening to some Egyptian Lover. I don't know what Egyptian Lover track, but on one of his songs, the lyric goes, I'm so smooth, so suave, so debonair. And I'm like, so smooth. All right, cool. I like smooth. Cool. You know what? I'm going to be DJ Smooth. All right, cool. So I was DJ Smooth for like 20 minutes until my friend's sister walks in and she goes, no, you know what? I like the way he says suave better. And I'm like, okay. And his sister was pretty cute. So I said, you know what? Okay. All right, cool. Suave. But again, my lower level thinking at that time, suave to me sounded too plain. So I wanted to add something to it. So I said, you know what? I'm going to call myself DJ De Suave. Okay? Like Oscar De Leon. You know what I mean? Okay, so I wanted to put the DE in there. So I'm DJ De Suave. So cool. So DJ De Suave stuck around for like maybe a year and a half, maybe 2. And the reason why I ended up taking it out, because too many people were either mispronouncing it or not saying it at all. So I said, you know what, fuck it, it's DJ Suave. And there it is. Yeah.
See, Jerry Mraz is on, and he just said that you're lying that it was because of the shampoo. So that's what Jerry said right now. I was like, it wasn't really, you're lying because he was there. It was because of the shampoo. But
you know what? I don't think so, because I think I remember. I don't know if Suave the shampoo was around in like in '83. I don't know, but fucking Jerry. But yeah, that's how I got the name Egyptian Lover. I don't know what track it was, but he goes, "I'm so smooth, I'm so suave, so debonair," and I come to think of it, it might be the song. He has a song called "The Lesbian," and I think it's in there. I think that might be the track.
Well, we got a lot of music heads listening, so they'll answer right now. Which song says that? I'm so smooth, I'm so suave. Let me know, and we'll bring it up. But no, that's cool, man. I always like listening to like how you guys come up. You know, DJs come up with their names. You know what I mean? And I think at the moment you're not thinking what you're about to do. You know, you're about to name yourself for the rest of your career.
Yeah.
And it's gonna leave an imprint in everybody's mind and everybody's, you know, memory. You know what I mean? It's just like, hey, you remember DJ Suave, you remember DJ Smooth, you remember DJ this and that, and it just sticks. So at that moment, you're like, I'm just going to do it, you know, 20 minutes, yeah, whatever. But then all of a sudden, here we are 40 years later, you know, 20 years later and talking about, man, that's how I named myself. So this is pretty crazy, man. That's cool.
Yeah, and you know what? It's funny you say that because like around 95, 96, I really wanted to change my name. Again, and this taps in, I'm pushing this back a little bit here. This taps in to the West Side, okay? Because a lot of the DJs that I would hang out with and play with out there in the West Side, a lot of them had, you know, DJ names, but a lot of them also went by their real name. And for some reason that I was attracted to that. I'm like, that's what you know what? I think I want to do that. So I said, I definitely don't want to use Dixon. Okay. But my middle name is Angel. So I said, you know what? I think I'm just going to go by Angel Gomez. But what happened basically was when I talked to a lot of people about that, by that time, by the mid-90s, DJ Suave was already kind of established, okay? Especially being on Powertools. So I decided not to change it. Because I thought by changing it, it would be like starting from scratch all over again. So I just kept it with DJ Suave. If I would have thought about that 91, 92, or prior to Powertools, I would have done it. But I thought about it way too late, and I just ended up sticking with DJs. With DJs. Yeah.
I don't know, man. Dixon Gomez sounds pretty dope, bro. You know what I'm saying? It's different, bro. I mean, I'm for it, dude. You can change it now, bro. It's never too late. I'll buy that CD. I download those tracks. I can't even say download CD anymore because yeah, I'll get those MP3s, man. Yeah, dude. So
yeah, I mean, but yeah, DJ Swap Cook.
During this
Swap Cook. So
during this time, like when you started DJing and stuff, like did you go out and buy your wheels of steel? You know what I mean? Did you go buy your turntables, or were you like using your buddies, or how did that come about?
I bought my first set of turntables, I want to say like around 92 or 93. So I bought them relatively early. And then I bought those set, like around 92, 93. And then later on toward in the late 90s, maybe 99, I bought another set. So now I have 3 sets now. I have a total of 3 sets. But they were all 1200s. I never started with anything less than that. I started with the first 1200s, and then the second set, was it the third set? I think it was, the first 2 sets were the basic, the 1200s. I think they were the MK1s, I believe. The last set that I bought were the MK3s. That's the one that was, to me, was the best because it had that little reset button and it didn't have that little click that separated between, there's a little green light, and most DJs know this, especially old school DJs. When you're mixing and you're in between that light, the old school turntables, there'll be a little click, and it would be tough to mix within that range. So you would either have to slow both records down or speed both records up. But with the MK3s, they removed that click, so everything was smooth. So that's the last set that I got, the MK3s. So I have, a total of 3 sets. So I started with the 1200s. I want to say like 90 and like around 93. 93.
Nice. Right on, man. So here we are about to step into the Powertools storyline, man. And I mean, I'm excited because we here in Vegas didn't have no Powertools. So we would get our Powertools through tapes from buddies of ours from over there, from Cali. You know, we're all pretty much basic from Cali. I'm from South Central LA, but then I took a little break about a year in La Puente. And then I moved to Vegas. I went to Don Julian Elementary School, and we moved to Vegas. So I don't, when you say Gabriel Valley, La Puente, El Monte, you know, West Covina, all that area, you know, I remember that. But, you know, we were getting our food from tapes that you guys were making over there, man. So take me to the trip on your history through the Powertools, man.
Yeah. And this is something that I kind of pride myself, okay? Because there were many DJs. Now, musically, I live in the SGV, but musically and everything about me when it comes to DJing music and partying is all West Side. Okay? I had my foot in the SGV in the East Side, and I also had my foot in the West Side. So I knew I was involved with both sides. Again, I kind of pride myself a little bit on this because there were many DJs on Powertools. Many DJs on Powertools that played deep underground house music. Okay? Be it deep underground stuff or soulful stuff. It was underground house music. And I consider myself one of the very few DJs that not only played it, but was a regular on Powertools that played that music. Bunch of guests, okay? Bunch of guests. We didn't use the word resident back then for Powertools, the way they did, you know, a few years back. But as a regular, I was one of the first, if not the only one, that wasn't, not counting Orlando or Asia, those guys, because those guys would be like, you could say those are residents, excluding them. But I was either the first or one of the few guests, returning regular guests that would play that kind of music. So the very interesting thing about Powertools, because back then, if you were on Powertools, that meant something. You know, if you're on Powertools once, just once, all your DJ friends would be like, "Oh, you're big time now." Like, you know what I mean?
Which you going?
Yeah, exactly. You know, and if you're on twice, you know, they're like, "Oh shit, let me bow down to you." So being a regular on the show, that gives a certain status. So in the East Side, I was asked to play a lot because of the show. A lot of house parties and events like that. Okay. And this is where I had a bad experience, and I want to be careful how I say this because I don't want to associate my experience to a certain type of group, but It's what happened. Because of the music that I played. Soulful house, jackin' house, deep house, underground house. Again, we're in the 90s here, okay? In the East Side, my quote-unquote peers, okay, I was the laughing stock of all the DJs. When I would walk into a party, all the DJs would be like, oh, here comes Suave, he's gonna put everybody to sleep. Oh, here comes Suave, he's gonna be playing that I Love You house. And when they say I Love You house, I know what they meant, is that soulful house. I was the butt of every joke. They had no respect for me as an artist, DJ, no respect for the music that I played, no respect for anything that I was about, except that thing. I was on Powertools. And because I was on Powertools, again, back then, if you had the Powertools logo on a flyer, that meant something. And by booking DJs like myself, that allowed them to put the Powertools logo on the flyer.
Okay.
Right. They didn't book me because, oh, dude, Suave, you're a dope DJ. No, hell no. Because when they book me, I'm the first one to play. And if there's multiple rooms, I'm in room number 2, also the first one to play. And all these DJs, the smallest amount of, if you want to call respect, that they had was simply because I was on a little show called Powertools. Okay, that's it. And during that time, what was the music of choice? And this, again, we're talking in the East Side. In the West Side, completely different story. Okay, completely different story. But we're talking the East Side. The music of choice during that time in the East Side was hard house. So the DJ before me, boom, 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 boom. Here comes Suave. Then the DJ after me, boom, 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 boom. You know what I mean? So that musically, it didn't make sense to have me. But again, Powertools. They could put that Powertools on their flyer. Okay, they could put it on the flyer, and they would hit me up. Hey, announce it. When you're on the show, say you're going to be here. And I did. However, I do have to say this. There was one party crew that did respect me. That they did see the talent. They understood the music. They respected the skill. They respected the artist. And that was 437 in Pasadena, Juan Franco and company, and those guys. They truly respected me. They did a party in Pasadena at some hall, slam packed. And they had me and LaRock playing. We were the headliners. And this is so hilarious because all the other DJs, they kind of had time slots. Me and LaRock, there was a big sign on the DJ booth, and it simply said, Suave and LaRock are going to play whenever they want, as long as they want. That's what it said. That's exactly what it said. So those guys truly respected me. And yeah. So I had in the East Side, I had it rough. I had it rough because they not only disrespect my music, which if it was just that, that's fine. I mean, music is subjective. If they don't like it, cool. But they associated the music with me. When they disrespected the music, they also were disrespecting me. They did not want anything to do with me outside of having that Powertools logo on the flyer. and which is fine, which is fine, and I make no holds barred about it. I don't hide the fact that, and everybody knows that hard house, I hate that shit. I never liked it. I never liked it. Never liked it. I hated it. I didn't carry a sign saying "fuck hard house," okay. But when asked and when the subject came up, yeah, I told him that. To me, that's garbage. It's garbage. And I remember I saw the show with you and Jerry Flores, and Jerry Flores said something that is very, very true. And he pretty much said that hard house is not timeless. That's what he said. It was within its own era, you know. And I get that. And I know that there are diehard hard house fans today, you know, and they're very loyal. They're very loyal. I mean, these guys on Instagram, they what are they called? House parties of the 90s or whatever. They do events and they sell it out. You know, they had Henry, they had Tony B not that long ago, and it's packed. You know, all that hard house. I get it. Hey, I get it. It's cool, but they really took it. They made it very personal and almost very deliberately when they would see me. And I understand it. They don't like deep house. They don't like underground house. So that's cool. But to go to the extent that they did, mocking me, making fun of me, and I took it. And I took it. That's fine. You know, I didn't cry about it, whatever. I moved on. Cool. You know. And a lot of DJs, when I say I hate hard house, a lot of them, they took it personal. Mm-hmm. They took it personal. Oh, he hates hard house, so he hates me then. You know? And there's a lot of DJs to this day that still hold resentment because of my thoughts, the way I see hard house. And you know, cool. Yeah, I mean, I have nothing against the DJ. It's just that hard house, same thing with EDM. I think EDM is garbage. Absolute garbage. Okay. There's a DJ that I clown all the time, but I clown him as a DJ, and that's Steve Aoki. And when I clown on Steve Aoki, people take that personal. Oh, then you must think I am a clown because I love Steve Aoki. No, I don't. I dislike Steve Aoki, the DJ. Steve Aoki, the person, it's a completely different story. One of my good buddies is Jungle George. He's known as a hard house guy. You know, throughout the years, he was my boy when he was playing hard house. I never disliked him because he played hard house. I don't, DJs today that play EDM, I don't dislike them because they play EDM. But back in those days, a lot of DJs disliked me as a person because they just couldn't get the music that I played. They just couldn't get it.
You know, real quick, it's funny because I'm learning as I go with this, you know, and our scene, now you literally just brought it up and it made total sense. Our scene was based on hard house. And like you said, it wasn't timeless because as soon as it was over, it was done. So our whole scene was rebel style, Harley boots, hard house, you know, coming in hard, battling, you know, the whole deal, man. You know what I mean? That was our scene here in Vegas. Yeah, we had the deep house. Yeah, we had, you know, the love house and soulful and whatnot. But for us, it was like, we're coming in, we're about to battle, we're coming into a rave, and you hear that boom, 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 boom. And, oh, dude, let's go, bro. Let's go. Like, let me in, you know what I mean? So, you know, all right, cool. Hey, and I just learned that today. I literally just learned that our scene was basically a hard house scene.
Right.
That's dope. I know, man. Thanks for that, dude. Appreciate that. I'm learning as I go, bro. Like, yeah, bro.
So fast forward a few years after that. Now we're going into the early 2000s. Okay, the early 2000s. And since you're from Vegas, I got a little Vegas story.
Sweet. Love Vegas stories.
So this was, I want to say, getting into the 2000s. This is probably 99 or 2000. I had a monthly residency at this club called the Onyx Room in San Diego on the Gaslamp District. Okay. So one of the nights that I played, at the end of the show, this guy comes up to me and he goes, dude, have you ever played in Vegas? I go, no, dude, I haven't played in Vegas. He goes, dude, I would love for you to come play in Vegas. I do this club in Vegas. I would love for you to come and check it out. All right, so he gave me his card. The card said Dwayne King. Now, if you're from Vegas, old school Vegas, Dwayne King was the man. He ran that shit. This is obviously years before the whole EDM explosion took over Vegas. Okay. During that time, when it came to house clubs in Vegas, there were three that I know of. Okay. Number one, you had Club Ice. Two, you had Utopia, which is the Empire's Ballroom. And then three, Raw inside the Luxor Hotel. And that was Dwayne's King's night, which was Wednesday night.
Yes.
Because on the weekends, it was all to tourists, so you had to play all the clubs on the strip was all radio commercial stuff.
Yeah.
With the exception of Empire's Ballroom and Ice, because they were like Empire's Ballroom, even though it was on the strip, it was kind of like behind. It wasn't in a hotel. Okay.
No, it was right off. Yeah, it was right off. It, right by the MGM. So
exactly.
In the MGM, it was like,
but it was toward the back
door. Yeah,
right
in the back. Yeah,
exactly.
So
and then you had Ice, and then Ice was, I think, a few blocks east of the strip.
Ice was heading towards downtown, so it was closer to the downtown area. Yeah.
So those were the spots, and he told me, yeah, dude, come down. I would love for you to play at Raw. And so I did. I went. So the first time I ever played in Vegas was Wednesday night at Club Rock. And that system was just banging. That was like, I played there a few times. I think I played there a total of maybe 4 or 5 times. The first time I heard Boy George was at Raw. I saw Sasha and Digweed at Raw. Paul Van Dyke and Paul Oakenfold. As a matter of fact, the third time I played at Raw, I opened up for Paul Oakenfold. So Dwayne King was the man, and then obviously he got into it, he got caught up, and so that went down. But yeah, so that was the first time that I played in Vegas, which was a great experience.
Saying that is like, so you're doing 99, 2000, literally like we're 95, 96 in our party scene, right? And it started like 92. But there was nothing for us. Like Utopia it was called the Mets before Utopia. There was no, and my bad on Ice. Ice was actually off of Harmon and Cobalt, I think, back there.
Cobalt.
Yeah. So my bad. So I apologize. I thought Ice House, which is the other one. So there, and there was SRO. There was the Mets that turned to Utopia, and then Club Rio. And like, for us to listen to what we were listening to, they didn't come until around the time that you started coming to Vegas. Before that, it was always top 40. Everything was top 40 everywhere. That's all you got. Hip hop, top 40, and then your paisa music. You know what I mean? That was it. So you actually came in right at the beginning of like the change of Vegas into getting into house music and that club kind of style. So good shit, man. Let's get to know history.
So, and now we're going to get into my claim to fame, if you will. We're going to get into Soul City.
Soul City, yes. I was
Soul
going to ask
City.
you about that. I saw something about that. Tell me about Soul City, bro.
Oh man, Soul City. Well, Soul City, about 3 years before Soul City. Let's start there. I met Raul Martinez. He was working at Music Revolution in Whittier, and that's where I met him. And he told me, like, he said, dude, I'm a resident DJ at Quiet Canyon Thursday nights, Lucky Lounge. And we just moved there because we were in Orange County first, and we just moved it to QC's in Montebello. And I've been bugging the promoter to have some house music. So they were doing Lucky Lounge every single Thursday at Montebello at QC's for about a good year, almost a year before I came in. And Raul Martinez, his idea was to have house music in the patio, because inside it was still hot, hip hop, radio stuff. Cool. So I started playing there every Thursday in the patio. Long story short, I would say by the end, I would say in about anywhere between 8 and 12 months, the patio became almost like a completely different club. People would go to QC's, go to the patio, and stay there the whole night because they were the house guys. They were the people that were into the house music, which was a small group. Okay? It was a small group, but it turned out that it was almost 2 clubs going on. 2 clubs, 2 different clubs. And because of that patio, that's where I met everybody that I associate myself with today. Christian 10 and all his people, and Dominic and all the girls that we kick it with, all the house people, the house crowd, that's where I met everybody. Everybody. So at the turn of 2006, January 2006, I saw a lot of my DJ friends having birthday parties. And I said, man, you know what? I need to do a birthday party. So I cannot tell the story about Soul City without mentioning the guy that really started Soul City. His name is Eric Morales. Eric Morales started Soul City in 1992. He's the one that came up with the name, came up with the logo, okay, came up with the whole concept. And throughout the 90s, Soul City was just backyard boogies, him, his close friends, parties, whatever. In the late 90s, early 2000s, he was doing it at little bars and small venues. And then Eric took some time off. He stopped doing it for a long time. So then in 2006, I called up Eric. I said, look, I'm trying to do a birthday party, and I know I played at your Soul City parties before. I want to do a birthday party, and I want to call it a Soul City. And Eric goes, dude, do it. Let's do it. Cool. So the original flyer, the original Soul City flyer, if you look at it, it says annual. Soul City was supposed to be once a year for my birthday. That's it. So I'm planning the Soul City party. We picked this venue, Ambiente in Alhambra. So I'm picking the DJs. Now, if you look at the flyer, the first one, it wasn't promoted as a house event. It wasn't saying, house music all night. No, I picked the DJs in the main room was myself, Rudy V, La Rock. In the patio, I had Joey Radical, Robert Miranda, I think Alex Diablo was the other one. I think, I'm not too sure. But it wasn't promoted as a house event. And the grand majority of the first Soul City, the one in April 2006, I would say about 300 people showed up to that party. About 90% of that crowd was from the patio at QC's. Okay.
Okay.
Was there. And a little bit from the patio on Sunday nights at McMurphy's, because there was also a little hot house spot. So, and here's something that a lot of people don't know. Okay. And this is the first time I'm telling this. This is the first time I'm telling this story. I am a big believer of, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. Exactly. So when I called Rudy to be the DJ, then I called The Rock. Okay. But I told The Rock this. I said, look, Larry, I need you to do me a favor. I need you to bring 2 bags of records. 1 bag of house and 1 bag of hip hop. Remember, this is 2006.
Yeah.
Okay. In the SGV, in the heart of SGV. And I told LaRock, look, if you feel that the crowd, that you're losing the crowd because there's too much house, play hip hop. Okay. Play hip hop. Because I know if LaRock would have played hip hop, the crowd would have danced. Okay. Obviously the crowd would have loved it. There's no question in my mind whatsoever. If we were to play hip hop on the very first Soul City, the crowd would have loved it. They would have loved it. Of course they would have. That's where they're coming from, right? Mm. So I told Larry, look, bring 2 bags of records. If you feel that you have to play hip hop, play it. Larry had no idea that he had the future of Soul City in his hands. Obviously, he never played hip hop. But here's the thing. If Larry would have played hip hop, what do you think I would have done on the next Soul City?
Hip hop.
Exactly. Exactly. So without LaRock realizing what he was doing or what he has done, he launched, because he didn't play hip hop, he sent Soul City to the direction that Soul City is known today. Okay. So nobody knows that. Nobody knows that story. Not even LaRock. Not even LaRock. So we have to thank LaRock for keeping very vigilant on the crowd, playing the right house music, playing the right records, that the crowd would not get tired of it, okay? And maintain that dance floor with house music. Because if he would have played the wrong record or anything, just did something a little bit off, he would have lost the crowd and he would have played hip hop. And the Soul City that everybody knows today would not be. So thank you, LaRock. Thank you, LaRock, for playing the right music, keeping the crowd intact, and giving us the Soul City that thousands and thousands of people have grown to love. But yeah, so that's how that ended up happening. Soul City, again, was only supposed to be once a year. When the night was over, I'm the kind of person that, I want to thank everybody. So when the night was over, I'm at the exit, thanking everybody. Thank you for coming. Thank you for coming. And every single person that was walking out that door, they told me, dude, when's the next one? And I'm like, oh, dude, the next one is next year. What are you talking about? Next one? No, dude, you got to do it again. When is the next one? And I'm like, if 2 or 3 people say that, yeah, you kind of blow it off. But dude, everybody that was walking out that door was telling me, when's the next one? Or you got to do this again. Oh, shit. So, okay, fine, fuck it. I'll do one more. Okay, just to do one. Same thing. So, long story short, that ended up happening. So by the 3rd Soul City, still in 2006, by the 3rd Soul City, that's when I realized, you know what? I think I have something here. And Soul City went from 300 people to about 700 people in that small venue at Ambiente. And because of that, the last Soul City that we did at Ambiente, we did it in February, and it was for a CD release party for David Delano. We normally would do a Soul City April. It was April, June, September, December, 4 times a year. And by the third Soul City, David Delano comes up to me and goes, dude, I'm doing a CD release party. No, he said, I'm doing a CD. I want to have a CD release party. I go, so when are you coming out with the CD? He said, in February. Oh, well, dude, I don't do a Soul City in February. He goes, nah, fuck it, let's just do it. I'm like, okay, fine, fuck it. So we did a Soul City in February, and that's when I had about over 700 people inside and about 300 people outside that never got in. And that's when I said, no more Ambiente. We're going to move it to Crazy Horse. And once we moved it to Crazy Horse, it became a completely different party. Now we're talking 12, 13, 1,400 people every single Sunday. Okay? And I would have kept it at Soul City, but the owner of the venue, Crazy Horse, he got caught up, and they gave him the boot. They gave him the boot, and I had to come up with another venue. It was December, and I had a Soul City in December for Modern Romance's birthday, and literally 3 or 4 weeks before that December Soul City, they shut down Crazy Horse. So I had to come up with a venue out of my ass real quick. I had no time to canvass the city to try to find a venue. So the only thing that I knew right off the bat was John Pena just recently acquired a venue in Pomona called Carnival. It was kind of a new spot, had a lot of hype behind it, dope venue. It's just in a fucked up area, but dope venue. It was great. So that's where I did it. So once I did that Soul City in December, then I had time to really look around, and that's when I moved it to Hollywood. And the first venue that I had in Hollywood was Playhouse. And this was when Playhouse was Playhouse. It was brand new venue. It had all the hype, and it had a house music background because they had the Monday Night Social were there, and we did it there. And man, let me tell you, Hollywood is funny, okay? Hollywood is funny, especially when it comes to a bunch of Hispanics, all right? Their main house night at Playhouse was Monday Night Social. So when I presented my party to Playhouse, I just, on the look on their face, they're like, dude, yeah, I know what you're talking about. Oh, yeah, sure. Yeah, you could do it. They had no idea where we were coming from. Okay, they're thinking we're going to be playing a bunch of David Guetta remixes of pop music. You know, bunch of Mexicans. What do they know about house music, right? So we get to Playhouse, bro. Let me tell you, by like 11 o'clock, okay, slam packed, and the energy was intense, and we were playing some serious house music. The Monday Night Social guys, I think 3 of them were there. And they were just like, what the fuck is going on here? You know, to get their party at the level of Soul City, they would have to book a $50,000 DJ.
Oh.
Okay, and here we are doing it with a bunch of local guys that will play for 3 tacos. Okay, you know what I mean? You know, and I heard through the grapevine that they thought that, you know, okay, it's a grand opening, so obviously everyone's gonna come. Well, every single Soul City that we did at Playhouse was just the same as the first one. And they couldn't believe it. They just couldn't. They couldn't.
Shit.
So we showed the Hollywood crowd that Hispanics, Mexicans, Central Americans, you name it, Latinos, we know what's up with house music. You know, we know what's up with house music. We might be East Side, but we definitely know what's up with house music. And also, I forgot to mention this. When I blueprinted how Soul City was gonna take place. Everything that I know on how a party is done is all from the West Side. Everything. So one of the very first things that I knew that I was going to do was put the DJ booth on the dance floor. Not on some stage, not on some balcony, not in some hole in the wall. Because every time I go to a West Side event, where's the DJ booth? On the floor. Because that's where the party. That's where the party's at. The party is not on the stage. The party's not in some balcony. The party is on the floor. So when I took that concept to the venues, especially at Alhambra and Crazy Horse, they couldn't wrap their head around it. Why would you want to put it on the floor? And I told them, no, that's where I want it. That's where the party's at. And they were like, oh, but what about if somebody bumps? And what about if somebody spills a drink? So they were coming up with all these things to try to rationalize why I shouldn't have it there. You know, why I shouldn't have it there. I'm like, no. And they were like, no. And sure enough, every single party, every single Soul City at Ambiente, every single Soul City at Crazy Horse, not a turntable, not a CDJ was bumped, not a single drop was dropped in the system. Everybody danced around it and they behaved. So that's the concept that I took to Soul City. Was a West Side concept. The other thing was sound. No promoters, especially in the East Side, is going to put $3,000 worth of sound reinforcement at Crazy Horse because they already have the sound system. Not me. I knew that sound is extremely, extremely important in throwing a party. Okay? So all these parties were already happening at Ambiente and at Crazy Horse. Nobody left Ambiente or Crazy Horse like, man, what the fuck did I just experience? But at Soul City, that's how they left. Because that sound system that I brought in, which, by the way, is the same sound system, the same sound company that Insomniac uses today for all their EDCs and all their Beyond Wonderlands and all their Factory 93 parties. Same guys. That's what I used back then. Okay? People thought, when I was doing it at Ambiente, people would tell me, dude, I feel like I'm on a fucking rave at Ambiente. You know what I mean? So nobody left Ambiente on a Friday and Saturday night. Nobody left Crazy Horse on a Friday and Saturday night feeling the way they did leaving Soul City. And that has to do with sound. The sound really elevates your party to another level. So that's basically how Soul City got started. I wanted to do my birthday, and it just blew up from there.
It became a phenomenon. It became a phenomenon. It's like, dude, give me more. Give me more.
Yeah, 10 years. I did it for 10 years.
Wow.
And for 10 years, 4 Soul Cities a year. I did it for 10 years. The last Soul City was at Exchange LA. And I said to myself from the very start that as soon as I see the numbers start to drop, for Soul City that is, that's when I'm going to call it quits. And I did. Because I've been to, and I don't want to say the name of this party, okay? But because I know the promoter for so many years. But I did not want Soul City to be looked upon like this guy's party. This guy's party, he did it his party was like on the big weekends, Labor Day, Memorial Day, stuff like that. About maybe 3 times, maybe 4 times a year. And his party was at different venues as well. But man, his parties, 1,500 people every single time. And then 1,500 became 1,200. 1,200 became 1,000. 1,000 became 800. 800 became 600. 600 became 300. And the last handful of his parties, which had the same name, we're talking 200 to 300 people.
Oh.
And people would always say, dude, what happened? It used to be up to here. It used to be like, it used to be this, it used to be that, it used to be this, and now it's shit. Right? And that's what I did not want. Was so sick.
Yeah.
So as soon as I saw the little dip, I said, that's it. Because in 2006, there was nothing much. I did it on Tuesday nights. There wasn't much going on Tuesday nights.
Yeah.
But as the years go on, stuff starts popping up. Now, on Tuesday nights, there's all kinds of shit going on.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? All kinds of shit going on. So when I saw the numbers dip, okay, which was at Exchange LA. Because at Exchange LA, we had it was a new venue, big venue known for house music, great sound system, everything. Everything, that last Soul City at Exchange LA had everything, had all the ingredients for 2,500 people to show up. Okay? And we just barely hit 1,000. And I said, that's it. That's it. You know, great run, 10 years. Not many people can say they did 10 years of top-notch, successful, not just musically, but also head count-wise and energy-wise, you know. So people today still come up to me, oh, you should do another Soul City or a little reunion or something like that. And I look, the brand Soul City is still there, obviously, because that's me. Okay. Every time I get booked, you know, Soul City, it's all there. I've done little Soul City takeovers here and there. But people tell me, when are you going to do like an actual full-blown Soul City? I go, look, I'm never going to say no. I'm never saying never. But something has to land on my lap. Something really has to land on my lap that's going to say, all right, let's do it. Do one just for the sake of doing one? Yeah, I don't think so. Will I team up with other people? Yeah. As a matter of fact, me and AJ Mora, we're planning something in the near future with a Soul City therapy combo. We're planning something like that. So something like that, I'm definitely would do.
Well, let me throw this in there. Let me throw my name in there in the mix. Maybe you should do a Soul City Vegas. And, you know what I mean? You got full support from us, and we'll do whatever you need be to make it happen. But, you know what I mean? Let me just throw it out there real quick and, you know, let it simmer there for a little bit. Call me. Have your people call my people. And we go make it happen. We'll bust people from over there, bro. I'll drive the motherfuckers over here to Vegas, brother. I'll drive the motherfuckers over here. Hey, we don't sleep, brother. We don't sleep over here. So.
Oh, bro, let me tell you, man. I mean, people come out of the woodwork all the time hitting me up. And here's the thing. The Soul City that I did, you know, obviously I did it. I had a team and the whole thing. But from the first Soul City to the last, and even to this day, I'm not a promoter. I don't see myself as a promoter. I am not a promoter. I'm just a DJ that did a party right. And to be perfectly honest, Soul City came at the right place at the right time. It wasn't planned. This was not something that, okay, I think now is the time I got to do it. No, it just fortunately worked out that I did it in 2006. 2006, that's a very interesting year for music. That's when the EDM thing was kind of sort of creeping in, and hip hop was kind of sort of taking a back step, you know what I mean? So the timing to do what I did, especially in the East Side, luckily was just perfect timing. The East Side crowd was looking for something different. They wanted the house music. And I just provided that luckily, blindly, just did it, and it just happened to work out. And a lot of people think that I have the magic wand to do a great party. No. 2006, it just happened to work out. People, to this day, people call me. Hey, dude, I got a venue. Hey, dude, I got another venue. Hey, I got a venue. Can you come down? Dude, I'm not a promoter. You know, you want me to recreate what I did with Soul City? No, what happened at Soul City is never going to happen again. It's not. I could do a smaller version of it, you know, whatever. But if you're expecting 1,500 people on a Tuesday night at some venue in LA, forget it. That's not happening. You know, it's not. It's not. It's just like Hard House. It had an era. it had an era. You know, 2006, from 2006 to 2016, that was the year. Though that was a 10-year span that whatever I did worked. It worked.
You did something right, bro. Like, here's the thing. Sometimes you think you're something, and then something else happens, and then you become that thing. And you might run away from it and say you're not, but there's millions of promoters. And I know this for a fact because there's just a million here in Vegas. And everybody wants to bring in the new thing. Everybody wants to create the new atmosphere and this and that. And they'll try cool venues. They'll try different sound systems. They have lasers. They have walls of like video cameras. And they bring DJs that they can't afford, but they bring them in anyways. And it just doesn't work, bro. So when you have it, you can't run away from it, man. It is what it is. Don't call yourself a promoter, but you did something. And, okay, if you did it 1 year, 2 years, then lightning in the bottle. But you did it for 10 years, bro. So, obviously, you know, or you did, or it felt like you were doing something right, and it worked for 10 years. I mean, there's clubs in Vegas. A lifespan of a club in Vegas is 5 years.
Right.
They start off with house or trance or whatever's bumping. You get it for 2-3 years, and then they start bringing in the hip hop. Then you already know, as soon as they bring in hip hop, the club is in a decline. Unfortunately, that's just the way it goes. And then towards the end of it, you will see them doing salsa, merengue nights, reggaeton nights, and then a year after that is done. You did it for 10 years. I mean, we got multi-billion-dollar facilities here holding clubs that can't last 5 years, and you did it for 10 years. I mean, you did something on a Tuesday, on a fucking Tuesday, bro. On a Tuesday. I mean, understandable in Vegas that there's people off on Tuesdays, other people off on Wednesdays, like, but you did it in a place where predominantly people are off Saturdays and Sundays, and you pulled it off on a Tuesday, bro. So I don't know, man. Take it for what it's worth. I think you a little bit more than that, brother.
It's my 15 minutes of fame.
For 10 years, bro.
It's my 10 years, bro. Yeah. As a matter of fact, I completely forgot to talk about this, but I did have another 15 minutes of fame. And this came back kind of to haunt me a few years ago. Every now and then, a video will pop up. So in the late 90s and early 2000s, I hosted a public access TV show. Called Firme TV.
Orale.
Firme TV was a public access. It was a show that featured clubs, DJs, hip hop artists, car shows, and these guys would go to all these shows and they would cover them. And they would show it and they would air it on this public access channel. I think it was all over Southern California, to tell you the truth. So one time, and this is how this came out. This was, I want to say 98, maybe? Raging Waters out here in Southern California. There was a party called Purple Shield, which is a ditching party. Okay. And all these DJs we were all there, including Richard Humpty, or Richard Vision, right? Back then it was Richard Humpty Vision. So these guys that did the show, they saw me hanging out with Richard. They didn't want to approach Richard, but they approached me. And they said, hey, can you ask Richard if he could interview if we could do an interview for our show. I'm like, yeah, sure, no problem. So I get up, Richard, these guys want to interview you. I'm like, okay, cool. So they go, and they're right there. And the camera guy and the other guy that does the show, they're looking at each other. Like, we don't know who's going to do the interview. They have nobody to do the interview. So then they asked me, he goes, hey, can you do it? Sure. I grabbed the mic and said, hey, we're here, blah, 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 blah. Boom. A couple weeks later, they gave me a call. Goes, dude, we're going over here at this car show. Can you come down and do what you did? I'm like, sure, no problem. I did it. The next thing you know, I am the host of Firme TV. Okay? I'm the host of Firme TV. Now, on the video that comes, check this out. The video that comes to haunt me, okay, there was a big, you could call it a rave, minus the rave music, because it was all hard house, okay? It was called Cyber Kid 98, I think. Cyber 90, I don't even know. But it was called Cyber Kid. And it was at the Anaheim Convention Center. Okay? And I go, I'm in doing my thing, they're doing for the show. And I saw a couple of friends of mine that I know. And I'm talking to them. And right there and then, because they're my friends, you know, so I pull a joke. And I ask this girl, who I'm friends with today. I talk to her all the time through social media and whatnot. So I asked her if she would marry me. Okay? If she would marry me, and made a big old deal out about it, whatever. So that clip somehow became, it was on a TikTok, and it went viral, and I started getting tagged on it. It goes, Suave, is that you? Is that you asking? You know what I mean? Da, 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 da. I'm like, oh shit, yeah, that's me. It's such a long time ago. So you can find the actual full footage on YouTube. I think if you go on YouTube and type in CyberKid 98 or whatever, it'll pop up. But that TikTok clip of me asking this girl to marry her, that blew up. That blew up, and everybody started tagging me. This was, I think it was like last year, possibly even 2 years ago. So everybody started calling me, so Suave, dude, you're blowing up. You know, the girl and this and this and this and that. So yeah, so I had 15 minutes of fame. So Steady and my TV acting, hosting, you know, show, you know. And Firme TV, toward the later years, we started covering more undergrounds and raves. And we had to change the name. Because when you're dealing with undergrounds and raves, now you're dealing with the West Side. You're dealing with more white guys, black people, Asians, right? They had a hard time pronouncing Firme TV.
Yeah.
They were going, Firme. They couldn't pronounce it, so we had to change the name, and we changed it to Frequency 1. So Frequency 1, I think, lasted maybe a year. So all in all, from Firme TV to Frequency 1, I think it was a run of 5 years. Doing, I think, every other month a show. So 250 minutes of fame.
Dude, your life is amazing, bro. Like, I mean, amazing in so many sense of things that you've done, to tripping into your music, literally not having a clue. 2 years to get your artwork done, you know, your art form, and then just running with it at a full speed, nonstop, bro. It's like passion behind it. And then the you know, things that you've done, you know, that have landed pretty much on your lap to do, and just running with it, man. That's an amazing life, brother.
I've been lucky, fortunate.
Very blessed, brother. Very blessed. Or just at the right place at the right time. So, some stars align for you, right correctly for you, brother. That's awesome, man. So what do you have now planned? Because after this, I asked you this question, you answer it. We have a bunch of questions from fans, and I hope you have time. But
yeah, of course,
dude, we have lots of questions, and I'm telling you what, man, I'm enjoying this interview. I'm learning so much, man. I feel smarter every day. I get smarter by these interviews, and you know what I mean. So, where are we going now? What is DJ Suave, Dixon Gomez going to now? Where are you headed?
Well, basically what I've been doing these last quite a few years, hitting the studio. I teamed up. Well, I won't say teamed up, but I linked up with this record label out of Spain called Move Records, which they're releasing a lot of my tracks. As a matter of fact, last year, they licensed 3 of my tracks for a compilation that was released on one of their other sub labels for Croatia. Which was great. Yeah, which was awesome. So hitting the studio, releasing more tracks, obviously, doing that. Because of the pandemic, during the pandemic, shall I say, I did the whole live stream thing like everybody else was doing. I did that. That was fun. It was cool. Had a different experience, playing for an empty room and a camera in my face. But it was cool. It was cool. A lot of people tuned in and they enjoyed it. So now that everything is somewhat coming back to normal, the gigs are slowly but surely coming in. I just got hit up from my boys out of Chicago, so I'm planning on going back to Chicago.
Nice.
So yeah, right before I would say I started about 2 years before the pandemic. That's when I started heading out to Chicago. Well, my boy Augie is the one that really made it happen. And unfortunately, he passed away. And man, when he passed away, that was such heartbreaking. This guy was the man in Chicago. I mean, he really made it happen for me in Chicago. Introduced me to some cool peeps, and yeah. So looks like I'm going to be going back to Chicago sometime early next year. So that's happening. Again, AJ Mora got some pretty cool ideas that we're still, blueprinting with Therapy and Soul City combo. So that there's some cool things happening there. But yeah, just still keep doing what I'm doing. I'm not going to stop until I don't love music anymore.
Never happened. Never happened.
That's why I do it.
Yeah, no,
that's why I do it.
It'll never happen.
That's why I do it. So yeah. Man. So I mean, it's a studio. Definitely, I got actually these last couple of months I've been working on some edits just for myself. I might share a few of those, but there's this one track that hasn't been finished yet. Kind of stopped. The pandemic hit, and I put that in the back burner a little bit. But now I got to revisit that track and finish it, because that track is dedicated to a friend of mine, and I gotta finish it. I definitely gotta finish it. So that's probably the next on my list. Once I finish these 2 edits that I'm working on, and then finish that track. Definitely finishing that track. So, but yeah. So yes, the gigs coming in slowly but surely. Space Taco. I don't know if you ever heard of Space Taco. These guys, it's funny because I was at Space Taco not that long ago, and one of my friends, he's an older cat, just like myself, and he was there, and he put me to the side, and he said something that was very thought. I'm like, wow, you're right. So he pulled me to the side, and he goes, "See all this?" Yeah, dude. This was Soul City 10 years ago, and yeah, these guys at Space Taco, these guys are killing it. Every Tuesday night, it's a weekly, every Tuesday night, the average age there, I think is like 24. Okay. And every Tuesday night, regardless of who's playing, they're good for about 300 people.
Wow.
Okay. Regardless of who's playing. And just yesterday, last night, was their 6-year anniversary. So Space Taco is definitely one of my favorite places to play. And that's coming up soon as well. Orlando Rocha, Daryl and Dylan, those guys they got really something special going on down there, especially in Pomona, which is so anti-house. You can't get more anti-house than Pomona, and they're doing it. They're coming. These guys are coming from all over LA, Orange County. Yeah, they're really.
Well, where's the location?
It's John Peña's venue. It's called the Basement. It's right next to the Fox, Theater.
Okay. Well, just somebody asked. I wanted to make sure that they know where they do. Yeah, we have our own thing here called Techno Taco Tuesdays.
With Tony Beat and those guys, right?
Yeah.
That's another spot. I hit up Tony a while back about playing there.
Yeah,
we were supposed to make it happen, but I don't know. I gotta reach out to that guy again.
Yeah, a good buddy of mine. We grew up in the same era, the same party scene, and he hasn't stopped, dude. So
they're still doing it, right?
Yeah, every Tuesday. At
the same spot, at the same venue?
No, they change venues like every so often. So I know before they were at Tacos and Beer.
Yeah.
And they were at Lucky. So Tacos and Beer, they're out of there. They were at Lucky Day for a while, and I think they're at Park on Fremont now. But then they go back and forth. Yeah, you'll be on Fremont. Cool guy. We had him spin here a couple of times on Rebel Daze, and one of our buddies, one of my partner on Rebel Daze, he ended up spinning for them as well. So super cool. The guy's busy. He's touring right now. He's everywhere. He's a really cool guy. So
I gotta reach out to him again.
Yeah, Tony, super cool cat. So that's cool, man. I'm glad to hear that. The love for music that you have, bro, is never gonna stop, and you keep doing it, man. So
right here, this is it. These are my babies, right there.
Yeah, dude, that's a great collection. Any of those records still have the -2, +4?
A few, right? Cool. Because once I realized that it doesn't work on every single turntable, I stopped.
you gotta do me a favor, take some pictures of that, and I would love to share them on Rebel Daze, just so people be like, hey, if you didn't see the interview, you don't know what we're talking about. That would be pretty cool to post up, man. That would be awesome. Man, before we get to the questions, I just want to say thank you, man, for joining us today and letting me interview you and just sit here and just listen to your stories, man. I appreciate it, man. I'm so knowledgeable now because of you, and I really, really appreciate teaching me in the game, man. So thank you very much for that.
Oh, of course.
Man, we got 28 people still watching, bro. I mean, they're loving this stuff, man. So here comes the nitty gritty, and I love. This is my favorite part because it's the fans, it's the people that have been watching that want to ask you questions, and if you don't want to answer, you don't have to. You always say pass.
I'm an open book. So. Ask. I'm an open book.
Yeah, I was like that until they're like, hey, so when you lose your virginity? Next question. Like, next question. I was 30. All right, this one is from Alex Diablo. Where did you buy your first soccer jersey?
Okay, so there's a let me give you the context behind that question. One of my favorite DJs, and I have quite a few favorite DJs. I have favorite DJs, and I have DJs that are influential. Okay, and we can get into that if you want to. So, but one of my favorite DJs is Mark Farina. Okay, and I saw Mark Farina. I forgot what rave it was, and he had a soccer jersey on. And I just thought it was so cool. It was a soccer jersey from a European team. Wasn't a national team. It was one of the European club teams. And I just thought it was so cool. And for a brief time, a few years, I was on a soccer jersey frenzy. So I wanted to emulate one of my favorite DJs. So I started rocking soccer jerseys for a long time. So that's how that came. So my first soccer jersey, I think it was... I think it was Manchester United. I bought it at a soccer store in El Monte off Valley Boulevard somewhere. So there you go. Fucking
there you go. Dude, that's why I love this part, bro, because it's like people that really know you, bro, they pull out some crazy shit on you, bro. Like, oh, what?
Bring it on. Bring it on.
This one is Jerry Flores. During the mid-'90s, which style, gender was your favorite? Soulful, vocal, or deep house?
You know what? The style of house music that got me first, okay, was that deep, soulful stuff. Okay, listening to Marcus, even though Doc was the first one I heard and blew my mind, the genre that really grabbed me was the deep soulful stuff. Listening to Marcus Wyatt way before, I mean, years before Deep, he had this club. I don't even want to call it a club. It was a party that he did. It was called Max Garage. And this is eons ago. And it was something that he wanted to emulate from the Paradise Garage. So he called it Max Garage. So listening to Marcus, that jazzy, soulful stuff, that's what grabbed me first. So yeah, so I would say, and the people that truly know me musically, they know that no matter what genre I'm playing, okay, because I don't change genres, I add genres. People say, "Oh, you don't play this anymore." No. It's not that I don't play this anymore. It's just that I added other stuff to what I already have.
Yeah.
Okay. You know what I mean?
Cool. I like that. That's cool, man. That's cool.
So the people that really know me, they know that my roots is deep, soulful house. That's my roots. But through the years, as the years goes on, I add subgenres, different styles. When I first heard DJ Heather and Mark Farina, that Jack in Chicago style, then I jumped on that. I wanted a bunch of that. I didn't stop playing what I was playing. I just added, you know? And I would say for the past, let's say 10 years, I started playing more and more techno. I've always played techno. But recently, I would say for the past 10 years or so, I've been playing more and more techno and more tech house. But man, that deep underground house, I still play, I still keep up with it. So it's not that I change. It's just that I add to my musical arsenal.
Jesus. Good way to put it, bro. I love that. Good shit.
Jerry, I want my Powertools tape. Where's my Powertools mixes, Jerry?
You're not the first one to ask, bro. All right, this one is from DJ Steve Chris. Suave is one of the realest guys out there. Love you, brother. Keep being you, brother.
Steve.
That was from
Thank you, sir.
Steve. Right on, man. Much love. DJ Schwan, what is your favorite reggaeton track you like to play when you're going back with Frank Medina?
My favorite reggaeton track. You know what? That's an inside joke that not many people know. Frank Medina is another househead, and let me tell you, this guy hates EDM more than I do. Okay, he hates EDM more than I do. He hates EDM so much that he can't get past. For example, I could tell you, even if it's an EDM DJ, I could tell you if that EDM DJ is a skilled DJ. Okay, regardless of what they're playing. Like, for example, Juicy M. Everybody hates Juicy M. They cannot stand her because they can't get past, one, the music she plays, two, how ridiculous she acts. You get past that, then you see how skillful this chick really is. Frank Medina can't get past the music. Okay, he cannot get past that. So me and Frank, I always clown on Frank how he loves reggaeton and back it to me. So we have this back end thing that he and I always do. And then a few years ago, Joey Radical, he would do these parties and he would put on the flyer DJ Suave versus Frank Medina.
That's pretty cool.
That's the context behind that question.
That's pretty cool.
I hate reggaeton, by the way. I can't stand it.
This one from Steve Chris. Rebel Daze, by far the best interview, brother. Great job with all your shows. Suave knows how to freaking kill an interview. Ask him about QTRL. We would play new songs and Suave would go the best where the new songs got.
Yes. During the pandemic and the live stream, they would have all these DJs go on, and Chris would do the same thing. He would be in his garage and he would go on Facebook Live. So as he was playing, one time I said, "Oh, dude, did you know that the track that you're playing, the original is this, this, this?" So he liked that idea. So one time we decided to do a whole show. We would play the track that everybody knows, and then we would play the original. Okay. But the thing is, when I would send Chris all these tracks that everybody knows and then send him the original, I blew Chris's mind because he had no idea that the majority of these tracks had an original. And not just an original, we're talking an original from 30 to 40 years ago. Mm. So a lot of Dre songs, Eminem songs, all these songs that everybody knows, that even Chris, and he's a DJ, even he thought they were not sampled. And when I gave him all these songs and the list and the links to look at the original, blew his mind. So he admired the fact that I had that kind of knowledge, and I got that knowledge right here. Years and years of buying music, buying music and accidentally, not necessarily looking for it, but I would buy these disco records. And then when I'm hearing them, I'm like, wait a minute, I know this. It's because so-and-so has it. So, years and years and years of doing that, you accumulate this knowledge. Yeah. And so we did that show, and Alex Diablo was a part of that show as well. And it was very informative. It was fun.
That's cool, man. That's cool. Jack Monforte, when did you stop using headphones?
Okay. So, I knew this question was probably going to come up. Headphones. So, I've been DJing since the mid 80s. Okay. And throughout the 80s and throughout the mid 80s and throughout the 90s, I had these headphones wrapped around my neck. Okay. I hated them. For a couple of reasons. Because of the way I was taught to mix and my style of mixing. Okay. And this is obviously during the vinyl days. So when I am releasing the record to start the transition, I don't have my headphones on like most DJs. I do everything that I need to do with the headphones on. Once I'm done and I release the record to start mixing in the next one, I grab the headphones and I put them to the side. And as the record is transitioning, I don't need the headphones. And if I go off or whatever, I got monitors. Okay? Which is something that I never really understood. I see DJs all the time, they're mixing and they go slightly off, they grab the headphones. Why? They got two big ass monitors at full blast. Why do you need the headphones to fix the beat? I don't understand it. But anyway, so doing this every single time I'm playing for every single mix for all those years, I hate it. So then, let me see if I have some back here. No, I don't. So then, towards the end of the 90s, early 2000s, I got turned on to the lollipop headphone, which is the headphone with the stick, right? Yeah. Oh, I went nuts on those. I met a guy who did them. Okay, Dave from Duo Audio, my boy, he hooked me up, different colors, LED lights, the whole, I think I have about 14 of them, everything. So I loved it. And that was it. I said, that's it. That's it. That's all I need, because I listened to it and I put it down. Perfect. Well, so when digital started coming on, and I was one of the few DJs that hung on to vinyl. As soon as digital hit, I didn't convert. Oh, no. I was one of the last DJs to convert to digital. Okay, I hung on to vinyl as long as I could. So anyway, when I started converting to digital, I was a resident DJ at the Dragonfly. Yes, the Dragonfly in Santa Monica. And I was playing vinyl along with some digital stuff. So the setup that I had in front of me was 2 turntables and 2 CDJs. Okay, and now these are the CDJ 1000s, okay? Many years ago. So the guy that owned the CDJs, he wasn't a DJ, he was a promoter. And I would notice that he would take the CDJs every single time. So then I told him, look, eventually I'm going to start using these things. So just let me take them home and I'll bring them every single weekend. And that way I could practice on them and get used to them. And it was no problem. So I'm in my house and I'm practicing the CDJs, trying to get familiar with them and the whole thing. And just by chance, I saw something that made me go, all right. So what I saw, I repeated it. I did it again. I'm like, all right. I pulled out different tracks. I flipped the CDJs, I wanted to prove everything. Okay. So I'm like, interesting. And I believe that the years of mixing on vinyl helped me into realizing and catching what I caught to eventually make me play without headphones. Yeah. So as I'm playing, and I'm like, wait a minute, this is interesting. So I'm at home doing what I'm doing, what I figured out. I'm trying to figure it out and doing all these things, and it works every single time. I did it with different tracks. I did it with different CDJs, and I'm like, I'm still like in disbelief. There's no way this can work. So about a year or so later, I felt very, very comfortable to say, okay, you know what? I'm going to play with no headphones for the first time at a party. And what party did I pick? It was my birthday Soul City edition. Okay. All right. So this was 2008. So I took my headphone and I connected it and I left it there. And I said, if I need it, I'll pick it up. I never picked it up. Never picked it up. So the main reason, the only reason, because there was only one reason, I don't use headphones to say, ooh, look at me, I got a skill, or look at me, blah, 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 because I would have mentioned it. It's not the first thing that comes out of my mouth. I don't use headphones simply because out of convenience. Mm-hmm. I hate those shits around my neck. And if I could get away with it, even with the lollipop, I won't even use it. Mm. So I haven't used headphones since 2008. However, I still use headphones when I play vinyl. Okay? And because I know the difference between someone listening to a DJ at a club opposed to someone listening to a mix CD in their house, in their car, or in their headphones, because I know there's a difference. Every time I'm being recorded, I use headphones. If I'm on a mix show that's live, I use headphones. When I record a mix, I use headphones. Only when I know I'm not playing, only when I know that I'm not being recorded and I'm playing at a party, whatever, I won't use headphones. So it's just out of convenience, simply out of convenience. And, I'm not going to lie. I mean, it can be impressive to look at, because I've been told that many times. When I was at Exchange LA, when I played at Exchange LA, Chus and Ceballos, this is when they were still together. They came up to me and they're like, dude, I'm looking at the CDJs and I know you're not using sync. Okay. There's no waveforms on the screen. How do you do it? How do you do it? And I go, well, it's just something that I figured out. So yeah, it is impressive to look at. Okay. Because it is, but it's not the reason why I do it. It really is. It's not. It's just convenience. That's all it is.
Nice. Let's see. This is from DJ Royelle, which we had a great interview with her. Suave.
Liz!
Funny story on how we met.
Oh my gosh. Okay. Liz, let me tell you something. I love this woman to death. Liz, I met Liz when she was like 15 years old. Okay. And the way we met was so random, out of the blue. It was at the arena, but not Friday night arena. It was, I want to say, one of those big weekends, and then they had like I think it was like a Strawberry Sunday or something like that. It was on a Sunday night. We were at the arena. So the night was over. I'm walking towards the car. This is like 3 a.m. or whatever. I'm walking towards the car, and a friend of mine, who I still talk to this day, I see her walking towards me, holding hands with some skinny little looking white girl. Okay. Kind of running towards me, and she grabs my hand, takes her hand, puts them together, and she looks at me and she goes, "You're taking her home." Turns around and walks away. And I'm like, okay, cool. All right. So that's how I met Liz. That's how I met Royelle. I go, "So where do you live?" She goes, "Long Beach." I'm like, "Cool, no problem, whatever." Okay. So on the drive to Long Beach, I'm talking to her, whatever, you know, blah, 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 you know, real cute. You know, she's drop dead gorgeous now, but she was always a hottie. Okay. So, you know, so I'm talking to her. Okay, cool. Boom, dropped her off. Boom. I'm thinking I'm never going to see this girl ever again. About a month or so later, I bump into her at this party, and I bump into her at another party. And next thing you know, we're really, really good friends. And I remember when Liz took interest in becoming a DJ, she would call me. Goes, "Hey, Dixon, how do you do this? Or how do you connect this? I'm trying to record a mix," or what, you know. So she would call me quite often asking questions. And sure enough, you know, and I saw her starting to play here, a little here, and now she is one of the hottest female DJs in LA. And it's very unfortunate because so I love her so much. It really sucks that we can't share the decks together because musically we're on opposite ends. You know what I mean? So, but we did share the decks one time. I think it was for Jerry Najero's birthday at Detox in Pomona. We shared the decks one time, and that was cool. That was cool. But yeah, but that's how I met Liz. Totally random. Totally random. A friend of mine just grabbed her hand and says, "Here, Dixon, you're taking her home." And that's it. Not, "Can you take her home?" Dixon, no, boom, "You're taking her home." And she just turned around and walked away. And here I am holding Liz. I'm like, okay, let's go. But yeah, Liz is awesome. I love her to death. She is one of my good friends. I love her. She's awesome.
Awesome. This is from Rudy V. Suave. What was our radio show we did called?
Rudy V, the radio show. The radio show. What was our radio show? Oh, yes. This was in the early 2000s. That's right. Robert Morales, he had an internet radio station called Into Deep Radio. It was called Into Deep Radio. That was the station. And throughout the week, there were different shows. And I wanted to do a show that was very similar to the format of the radio station out here in LA called KCRW, which is basically a genreless station. I mean, they play everything and anything. It's not a dance station. It's not an indie station. It's not a hip hop station. I mean, they will play a song from Germany, and after that, it'll be a Latin song. And then after that, it'll be a hip hop song. And then after that, it'll be some obscure shit. You know, KCRW is an amazing station. So anyway, so I wanted to do something like that with a lot of disco, a lot of funk, and some house. And I believe the name of the station of our show, if I'm not mistaken, we called it Basement Funk. I think that was the name of the show, Basement Funk. Correct me if I'm wrong, Rudy, but I think that's what we called it, Basement Funk.
All right. Oh, so
we
many.
played all vinyl, different stuff, different styles. Yeah, everything. It was good. We did the show. We did about 5 or 6 episodes. It was really good.
Said this one's from DJ Jungle George Suave. Thanks for giving me the courage to play on CDJs. LOL. Keep up the great work, man.
Yeah, Jungle George, man, he was booked to play. It was during the pandemic. It was at a live stream show, and since when Jungle George left the turntables, he went to a controller, and so he was gonna do he was gonna be a guest DJ at a live stream show, and they just had CDJs, obviously. So, and he never really touched them. And I told him, dude, just borrow some CDJs. So I just kept, pushing him, dude. You'll pick it up in less than 30 minutes. It's fairly easy. And he did, and he killed it. He did a really good job. And yeah, so that's how that is, because he was really nervous. I said, dude, you have a bazillion years behind turntables. Same concept. You just have to push a few buttons, and that's pretty much it. But yeah, but he got it. He got it fairly quick, and he killed it.
All right, this one comes from MetaMex. Where can we listen to your mixes, etc.?
For those, okay, on my SoundCloud,
Good
I got over 60 mixes from deep house, tech house, classic, techno. So it's soundcloud.com/DJ Suave the number 1, not spelled, just the number 1. So it's soundcloud.com/DJ SUAVE Suave that's a little line, a little dash, okay, and then the number 1. You go in there and you could download all the mixes for free and all that. Yeah, so there's plenty of.
Go. Get at it, guys. Go get his music. All right,
which includes a tribute mix that I did for the late great Eric Morillo. I don't know how people feel about that, but it's there.
Let's see. We got this one for name your favorite top 5 DJs. Okay,
so I got favorite DJs, and then I got DJs that have been influential. Like we said in the beginning of the show, the first DJs that influenced me, but it was very short-lived, were the 2 KDAY mix masters, which was the Jammin' Gemini and the World Class Wrecking Crew. They were influential. After that, when I started getting to the house music, number 1, Doc Martin, because he was the first one that I saw that just was like, wow. 2, Francois Kevorkian. He is just an encyclopedia of music. I mean, he is responsible for some of the greatest dance tracks of all time. And when you hear this guy DJ, it's like going to school. I mean, this guy will give you a history lesson in music. Techno, disco, house. He played an opera track in the middle of the set. Francois was the DJ that really taught me that you don't have to play a certain genre from start to end. You could go here, change directions, go from disco, go to techno, go to house, drum and bass, play some Latin. He's the one that really influenced me to really don't stick to just, because you're doing a 5-hour set of straight techno. I mean, it's cool, but if you have the means to really change the direction, go on different avenues, educate people, yeah, Francois is the one that really taught me how to do that, influenced me how to do that. And the third one would be DJ Harvey. He's another encyclopedia of music. But unlike Francois, Harvey he tends to stay within a certain lane. But even though he stays within that certain lane, man, you are going to get educated, because this guy will whip records out of his ass and you will never, ever hear them again unless he plays it. I mean, phenomenal. He's known as a disco guy, but man, when he plays house and this guy is just, he is a genius. I mean, I see him like a living Larry Levan. I mean, musically, he's just a genius. So those are the influentials. Then we'll have my favorite DJs. Obviously, Carl Cox. I love Carl Cox. Eric Murillo, Mark Farina, DJ Heather, Doc, of course. Danny Tenegula is another one that I love. Those are the DJs that really, you know, molded me. When I first started out listening to Doc, and then Marcus, and then Steve Loria is another one. You know, the first time I saw Louis Vega play, mind blowing, because he would do things on the turntables that I've never seen a DJ do before. You know, he would play records sometimes in the middle, somewhere in the middle, and he would play it. He would start it from there, and he would just do technical genius. So yeah, those would probably be my favorite. Carl Cox, Eric Murillo, Doc Martin, Danny Tenegula, of course. I would probably say, you know, like, did I say Mark Farina? Yeah. Mark Farina is definitely a huge one of my favorites. Even more recent today, you know, Mark Knight. I think Mark Knight's pretty dope. The Martinez brothers, they're pretty good.
Yeah, they're pretty
John
dope.
Digweed, that's another one. John
Digweed's dope. Yeah,
he is a genius when it comes to programming. It's just like it's just like the way it's like conducting a symphony. The way he plays his music, it's just phenomenal. So yeah, those will be my top.
I got into here when the scene was done. Paul Oakenfold, Carl Cox, BT, Digweed, Sasha, they all start coming in. It was just like a whole different world of DJs coming in with a whole different style. And yeah, dude, it was amazing to see. All right, let's see what we got here next, man. They're just coming in.
Bring it.
Let's see here. This is always asked. Being a veteran vinyl DJ, how do you feel about controller DJs?
Ooh. Okay. A lot of people think that I am anti-controller. Okay, and I'm gonna try to make this fast because I want to get to more questions. But here's my thing. Here's my thing with controllers. I don't have a problem with the actual device. I don't have a problem with the actual device, okay? As a matter of fact, I have convinced many DJs to buy a controller, okay? A controller serves its purpose. It has a place to serve its purpose. Here's my issue. My issue is not DJs that use controllers. My issue is how DJs go about when they want to use a controller. And let me explain. Especially veteran DJs. When a DJ says no to the industry standard, which is anywhere between 2 to 4 CDJs and a Pioneer mixer. When a DJ says no to that and says, I want to use my controller, that's where I have a problem. Okay? That's where I have a problem. Because you're telling me that you are a veteran DJ, you need the aid of a computer to play. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. And let me give you an example. And this happened quite a few years ago. Swedish Eagle, he doesn't do these anymore. But back in the day, not that long ago, Swedish Eagle, every December, he would do like a Toys for Tots kind of an event. Okay. And he would do it at different venues. And he would book over 30 DJs. And every single DJ will donate their time, and they will play 30-minute sets. Doesn't matter who you are. It doesn't matter if you're the top DJ, you're playing 30 minutes. Okay? Everybody plays 30 minutes. So this DJ comes in. Okay? His name is Morgan fucking Page. Okay? Big DJ. Morgan Page. He comes in, okay? I'm playing. I got like maybe 10 minutes left. He comes in and he starts connecting all kinds of shit into the mixer. Puts a laptop next to the CDJ. Grabs another laptop too next to that other laptop. Whips out some kind of, it wasn't a launch pad. It was some other contraption. Hooks that up. Takes him about 10 minutes to hook up all this shit. You're telling me he couldn't bring a flash drive, pop it in, or bring a few CDs, pop those in, and play for 30 minutes? It's not about him. There's DJs playing before him. There's DJs playing after him. Why does he need to bring all that for 30 minutes? Same thing with a controller. I've seen DJs walk in with big-ass controllers, hook it up next to a perfectly clean industry standard setup. And they rather play on that and not the industry standard. When I see that, that tells me that A, that DJ can't mix for shit. Okay? I understand new DJs that don't know how to mix by ear, which, by the way, that's going to be a lost art in about 20 years. Okay? It is. So when a DJ, when I see or hear a DJ say, no, I don't want to play the industry standard, I want my controller, especially coming from a veteran DJ, now that I have a problem. I really do. And people say, well, does it really matter? Well, obviously it does matter. He's saying no to the industry standard and he's saying yes to the controller. So obviously it's a huge deal. It matters immensely to him. Obviously, does the crowd give a shit? Of course not. But we're not talking about the crowd. We're not talking about the crowd. We're talking about a DJ. Okay? So that's my how should I say? That's my issue with those type of DJs. That they say no to the industry standard when they perfectly well are capable to do 30 minutes or an hour with some CDs or a flash drive. They don't need to bring all that. Now, I understand if the DJ's playing 6-7 hours and it's going to be his show, hey, knock yourself out. Bring 3 controllers if you have to. Okay, that's fine. But when you're asked to play an hour, hour and a half, okay, when there's going to be DJs after you and DJs before you, and you have an industry standard there sitting in front of you, and you want to play on a controller, nah, that to me, that's just bullshit. That's just bullshit. So that's my thing. That's my thing with a controller. I'm not against controllers. I'm against the DJs that say no to industry standard when they perfectly can use that, but they don't want to. For whatever retarded reason, they want to play on their little controller. That's my issue.
Nice. Well, I'm freezing here.
I'm going to say, you're about to...
We're going to have a grease-sickle here, bro. We're going to have a grease-sickle here real quick. So I'm going to do one more that Madam X always asks. And we could always do this again and just do the questions because, I got so many. And the page is always open for you, bro. But this one is always something that she always asks is, what inspires you?
Obviously, music. Music. If it wasn't for the love I have for music, I wouldn't be talking to you right now. Music is everything. That's the seed. That's the seed that has been planted in me to do what I do. I have many inspirations from different DJs to certain venues or whatever, but that's not the root of my inspiration. Music is the root of my inspiration. It's as simple as that. It's as simple as that. I get kind of turned off and I'm like, when I hear DJs like when they say, I remember, oh my gosh, I can't believe I'm gonna say this. Many years ago, there was a Spanish dating game. Okay, a Spanish dating game that was on Spanish TV. I believe it was called Doce Corazones. Okay.
I remember that, yeah.
Like a Spanish dating game, kind of like with a twist. So I was on that show. Okay. A friend of mine worked for that show, and she called me and goes, listen, would you want to be on the show? Because we're doing a theme. And the theme is DJs and go-go dancers. So I said, fine. All right. So I was on that show. And before we started doing the show, we were in the dressing room, and the producers of the show started asking all the DJs questions. And one of the questions was, why do you guys DJ? Every single DJ pretty much gave the same answer. Girls. And I'm like, yeah. In about 5 years, we're never going to hear from you ever again. And it's true. You know, none of those DJs, I never heard from them ever again. When your motivation is money, girls, whatever status you think you're gonna get, yeah, dude, your DJ career is just gonna go down. Okay. But music, the reason why I keep doing what I'm doing is because I love music. If I never left my house DJing, I would still have all this playing in my house. I would still be playing this in my house for myself because I love music. That's what I do. That's my inspiration. Nothing else. Everything else is secondary. Oh, flyer? Cool. Okay. Oh, I'm getting paid? Oh, cool. Oh, I'm on TV? Oh, cool. Oh, I get to play with this guy? Oh, cool. All that's secondary. All that is just so secondary. Music, the love for music is what keeps me going. That's it. It's that simple.
Love that, man. Good shit, man. Before, I just want to say, please join Madam X and the Therapy guys this Sunday, December 19th from 3 p.m. to 9, Toy Drive at Pattern in L.A.
At Patterns Bar in L.A., yes.
Yep, Patterns Bar in L.A. Brother, I want to thank you so much. I wish I had more time, but I'm becoming frozen here now. Yeah. I wanted to make it as cool as possible, but I guess I have to get a studio out here for the winters. But thank you very much, man. I really appreciate you.
I thank you. I really appreciate it. You're doing some really good stuff, man. Like I told you, this is a really good show. DJs get to tell their stories that other people, they may not know. You know,
yeah,
so I'm sure a lot of people that know me got to know me a little bit more today.
Yeah, and that's why, like I said, man, I know, you know, there was the whole, like, here's my bio and stuff like that, but, you know, for me, it's just, like, really getting a chance to know you personally and then passing everything on to everybody else so they can know you as well. And sometimes the stories are better than sitting down here and saying, hey, so, and then reading off, like, oh, so in this year you did this or this, that, you know what I mean? To me, I think this is a better way. And man, I mean, I think with your stories today, bro, they were amazing. Great history, great story, and I had a great time, and I learned a lot today, man. So thank you very much, man. You want to say anything before we head out, man?
Just keep doing what you're doing, and seriously, you're doing some really good work. On the same Madam X tip, stay tuned. Therapy is coming up soon in January. So I'll be playing at that one. I don't want to say too much because I was told not to say a whole lot. But a beloved LA DJ will be playing with us at this therapy, along with myself, AJ, and Orlando. But this will be at a new venue, a real cool venue. But it's just, all I'm gonna say is it's in January. So stay posted with that. It should be real fun.
Awesome, DJ Suave, Dixon Gomez. Appreciate your time, man. Thank you very much for a great night.
Thank you, man. Appreciate it.
And everybody for joining us. The questions were great, and thank you everybody for taking a part of your day to come chill here with us at Rebel Daze 702. Laters.
Peace.